Hi, today we're going to be talking about how to buy a business with no money down. Zero, no money. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jose and I'm a real estate and an entrepreneur. And this topic today really gets my grinds gearing because I love it. How to buy a business with no money down. When you're trying to buy something, it's really not about the price. It's about the person. It's a people-to-people transaction. I've always said that even when you're buying houses, the same thing, people-to-people transaction. Obviously, what you've seen in all of the videos out there is the easiest part, which is have the seller carry the loan, which is called seller financing, rather than just going to a bank and getting a traditional, acquisition loan type of thing. But that's not where it ends. Really not. There is so many different ways, really, so many different ways of buying a business with no money down. And this is obviously not an exhaustive list, but this is just what I came up with. So let me get to my list. So obviously the first one, like I said, owner carry, easiest one. But not all the owners will want that, obviously. If you want to do something else, you can do a contract that will determine the value of the business that you're buying in the future, depending on the performance of the business. You could say that you're gonna buy a business, and if the business, let's say for example, makes revenue 25,000, no small business, or 100,000 to make the numbers easy, makes $100,000. Then in that contract you will write, if it goes $100,000, then the price agreed upon for this business is X. If it reaches $200,000, is X. What happens is that the owner of the business really don't have a rush to get in that money, but they don't want to run the business anymore. The other easiest one that I've always seen people say is, let's just call it splitting it, right? So let's say that you are gonna bring the experience. You are the person who knows how to run this type of businesses. They will come in and put the money down, and then you will bring your experience. You're gonna bring the operations value. You're gonna run this business and make sure that it goes and achieves everything that you guys are gonna agree upon. Let's keep going because there's more. One that I actually learned from the show Shark Tank is when you use the business to pay for the business. And then you don't have to put any money down. How does that work? So the business will pay itself by determining its own payments. So let's say, for example, you can start a business today, but in 2 years you have to pay, for example, 20% of the value of the business. So it's kind of like you're using the business to generate revenue, to get that profit, and then that profit will pay for those payments that are agreed upon on that contract. And then the company will literally just pay itself. No money down. For the next one, I've seen it happen a lot actually, and it's when you are a person who creates a market. I've always said that if you have a business that says, hey, let's use for example pool services. Hey, if you want new clients for your pool services, I have clients, come join my network, my group, right? So you charge for this, you charge them to give them the access to your list. So what I've seen in the past is that person that is continuously bringing the client base for that business enters into an agreement with the business owner, and then you can enter into an agreement with that person saying, hey, I'm gonna continue to bring you more customers, but let's do a split or let's just share the equity, and then everybody's happy because you both gain in this situation. Okay, so this one is gonna sound a little more complex, but it has happened, and I know somebody who did this, and I thought it was an interesting idea. If you have a business, and this will not work for online businesses, usually not. It has to be like an actual physical business. So my friend was buying a farming business, and this farming business had a lot of equipment. So what he did was interesting. he was able to use the equipment that this business have and get a loan out, an equipment loan out of that equipment and the value of the equipment, and just enough so that he has enough cash to pay for the actual property. It's not really gonna happen a lot of the time, because that means that the value of the assets is more than the actual operating of the business, right? And that only happens when the business is going through some really tough times. And these are businesses that are going through a struggle, and the owner just doesn't want to do it anymore, and they just want to move on to something else. And then you can use the value of their assets to pay for the business, because the business is going to be undervalued. Similar to the one where you brought in the customers, in this case you're bringing in yourself, right? Because you have an ability, you have value that business needs, and then you bring that value, right? But in return, rather than getting paid as an employee, you want to get paid in equity. I think it's LeBron James that he brought his following, he brought his brand into a company, and rather than getting paid money, he received shares and he received equity out of that company. You can do this because you bring some type of value. Like in the case of LeBron James, it was his following and his media. For you, it could be your abilities. For you, it could be your marketing. It could be the way that you actually do sales. You know, what value are you bringing that, you know, you've developed? And this could be depending on, you know, performance, right? So if the business reaches a revenue goal of X, you know, 200,000, 300,000, $500,000, that could depend on whether you get 5, 10, 15, 20% equity of that company, which when you're thinking about buying a business, it's always a matter of what can you bring to the table. So for the last one, it's gonna be similar to what you do when you are doing any type of trading, right? In this case, when you're going to, in your brokerage account, you trade your cash for stock, right? For that amount of shares, depending on the value of it. So in this case, imagine if you don't have cash, but you do have stock in another company, right? You don't have the cash, you don't have the money, but you say you have 100 shares of Apple. So you want to say, what if you give me, what's the value of 100 shares of Apple, but for your business? For 100 shares of Apple, I can get 20% equity of that business. So in that case, you're not using any of your money, no down payment, none of your money. You're just using the value of your shares, right? Technically, you can say that you're losing money, but you're not losing money because you're gaining a business. And then that business, it's gonna be a business that's gonna, you know, if again, bring value, bring it up, it's gonna, you know, give you that benefit as well. That's all of the ones that I can come up with in a little bit, but there is a lot more. One more thing that is really important before I finish the video is that this probably is not a good idea, and this is just my personal opinion, my personal thoughts, when you are buying, let's say, a brand new business, right? Because the brand new business still has to grow, still has to develop itself, still has to figure out a lot of things. They call it growing pains for a reason. So still have to do all of this, right? To get to a point where revenue becomes at least constant, or preferably growing revenue, right? So with that being said, thank you for watching my video. I really hope that this gives you a better idea, not just on the basics that you will see everywhere, but on how you can structure deals and, you know, the different ways that I've seen, but there is so many other ways. So thank you for watching. My name is Jose and I'm done speaking. See ya.